Hi everyone, it's been a little while, but welcome back to this week's I've Been Playing. The game I'm talking about this week is one I meant to get to quite a while ago, which will become apparent as soon as I say what it is, but today we are talking about Little Hope. Now I want to say before I get started, because of the type of game this is, there aren't going to be any spoilers or anything, or at least as much as possible. You know, it's very easy to spoil this type of game, and also all of the footage that you're going to see is within the first half hour, if that, maybe even 10 minutes. It's not very much of the thing. It's not very much of the story even. It's kind of the setup you get started with at the beginning of the game. So don't worry about spoilers if you are concerned about that. I will be talking about the ending a little bit because it's part of the big thing I want to talk about, but I'm going to do it in a way that's hopefully not going to spoil anything for you if you are concerned about that. So Little Hope is another installment in the Dark Pictures Anthology. There's only been one so far, which was Man of Medan, which I have also played. It was, I think, last year it came out? Who even knows at this point? Time doesn't mean anything, but I'm pretty sure it came out last year, and this is the second one, and from the looks of things there will be four. I don't know if that's true or not, don't quote me on that, but this is the second one. This one is set in a place that had witch trials in the witch trial era of the Puritans and their their whole witch deal. So that's kind of the basis of the spooks in this one, is the witch trials, and specifically a potentially witch child. We're not really sure. You're trying to figure that out. That's part of you're trying to figure out what's going on. As per usual in these kinds of things, if you don't know, this is also from the developers who made Until Dawn. It's a very similar concept, very similar game, very similar gameplay for the most part. There are little tweaks between each game, but for the most part, they are very similar. It's very much a more narrative story experience than like an interactive movie, almost a walking simulator, not quite. There's a little more interaction than that, but it's more of an interactive movie, I guess I would call it. There are some quick time events, there is some walking around yourself and looking at documents and things like that, but a lot of it is cutscenes, and a lot of it is driven forward in a movie-like fashion. So essentially, the main characters of this game get stranded, and they have to make their way to Little Hope. The town is called Little Hope, which, I mean, why would you ever name something that? I don't know. But anyway, the town is called Little Hope, and they get stuck, essentially, and they're trying to make their way into town to look for some help, which, as you can imagine, given that this is a horror game, goes wrong. Now, like I said, I don't want to get into spoilers or anything, so I feel like that's probably as much as I can give you, if I'm honest. I don't want to get too much into it. We already know this one is supposedly about ghosts, or is sort of about ghosts. There's a little bit of, like, I don't know, not alternate reality, but different time periods that are involved, and they're all related, or they seem to be related, and you're exploring, first of all, you're trying to find your way out of Little Hope. You also want to try to keep all your characters alive, which I did manage to do. Sort of. Again, that'll come up later in the ending. And then you're also trying to get away from the monsters, or the witches, really. A lot of it's witches. Again, well, no, I can't even say that, but to say anything more than there are witches would be spoilers, so that's all I'm gonna say. Now, in terms of the ending, this is the kind of ending that makes me very glad that these games are relatively short. I don't think it took me very long to play. I played it in one night. I want to say it was between 4 and 5 hours total. It was not very long as far as games go these days, but it was definitely one of those endings that made me very, very happy that I hadn't wasted more of my time on the game, because it was severely disappointing and kind of negated the entire experience, in my opinion. I don't know that you'll be able to guess what I mean by that. Probably not, hopefully not. As I said, I want to keep it spoiler free, but it's one of those endings where you get to it and you watch it, and I guess it makes sense, but even whether it does or not, you're kind of like, why did I just waste my time doing all this? I could have just not bothered, and nothing would have changed. And again, related to that, I said I got all the characters through alive, which I mostly did. I did almost until I was saying this as I was playing, because I had this problem with Until Dawn. I got through the whole game and to the very end, keeping everyone alive, and in the last like 5 minutes, I killed at least half of the party that I was playing as because of just I missed QuickTime events, or it wasn't even QuickTime events until Dawn. It was because you have to hold the controller still, and I am glad they got rid of that. They got rid of that. They're more focused on QuickTime events, and I didn't change the settings or anything, but I'm pretty sure they incorporate more like comfort settings. So like if you're not just for accessibility purposes, which is nice. I think they're there. I didn't actually look. Because I didn't change it, but I'm pretty sure I remember them being in the last game, so I imagine they're here too. But anyway, the point is that I kept them alive until the end, and I'm not going to say how many I killed, or who I killed, or how I killed them, because all of that is kind of spoilers, but I got to the end, and then suddenly 3/4 of my party was dead. And seemingly this is because of an arbitrary thing. Is completely arbitrary. It wasn't like the others. It was from something that I had no idea was going to affect the ending at all, and doesn't seem to... in the context of the story, it kind of makes sense, I suppose, but I didn't know it was happening. If I had known it was happening, and this is probably the point, I wouldn't have done it the way I did, which is annoying. I hate not being able to... On the one hand, I don't want anything spoiled for me, but on the other hand, when it's like mission or story critical, or I'm specifically trying to keep everyone alive and I want to know how to keep everyone alive, and I think it's only based on my actions, which granted it kind of is, but actions in the QuickTime sense and not in the sense that they did it, I want to know that. I don't want to find out 2 minutes before the ending credits roll, you know? I want to know when I get into the game, hey, by the way, this that you're doing is actually going to help affect the ending, and help affect if they stay alive or not in the ending. So yes, I mostly enjoyed myself. There's a lot that goes unexplained, and it's related to the ending, I'm sure, why it's not explained, but there are a lot of things that are brought up that are not explained that the ending also doesn't explain, unless the ending is representative of the entire game. If you've played it, you know what I mean, I think, because there's a thing that happens early on in the game that the ending seems to just ignore or completely negate, or it doesn't really make sense, because if this thing happened in the beginning, how is the ending true? Or, you know, are both of these things happening at once? It's not entirely clear. It had both an ambiguous ending and an unsatisfying ending, which is very disappointing, because most of the game up to that point was interesting and fun, and it was fun to guide all the characters through it, and I didn't really like all of them. But, you know, I kept them all alive because I don't want to intentionally kill people, especially in an interactive horror movie, and the ending just really spoiled the whole thing for me, and I'm very disappointed because it was really good up to that point. Well, I can't really say more about the game at this point unless you want things spoiled, which I'm sure you don't, so just in case, I'm gonna keep any other opinions to myself. I think I've done a pretty good job of giving you a general idea of the game and what I thought about it without spoiling anything for you. But, you know, if you have played it, as I said, it's a fairly short game, so it's very possible that some of you have played it, and if you haven't, I do still recommend playing it. Just be ready to be disappointed at the end, is my warning for the game. But apart from that, you'll probably have fun playing it, because it's pretty good. It's pretty good. They're definitely getting into a better stride. I think they've only done 3 games. I don't remember. As far as I'm aware, they've only done these 3. They're the similar types of games, but 3 different kind of spooky stories. Until Dawn was the longer one. But because this is an anthology kind of thing they're doing, they're shorter, and they've all been decent. This one, I think, perhaps is maybe my least favorite just because of the ending. The rest of it probably would have made it my favorite. But in any case, let me know what you think of the game in the comments below. If you've played it and you agree with me or have any insight into the ending or any thoughts of your own, please let me know in the comments. And if you haven't played it, Also let me know in the comments. Just comment and just talk to me. And that'll do it for this episode. I hope to be back again next week. I don't know what game yet. I haven't gotten my delivery notice from Gamefly, so I don't know what we're gonna play, and I probably won't be playing any of the ones on my, you know, giant backlog on Xbox and PS4, just because I think I've covered most of those already, and I'm still in the middle of most of them. But next week, yeah, stay tuned next week. We'll see what gets delivered, and I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope I'll see you next time. Bye!